My name is Jim Mann, and I was a member of the MARIP committee on the Living with Dementia website. I am on the board of the Alzheimer's Society of Canada and a person living with Alzheimer's. When I was asked to say a few words about the Living with Dementia website and its benefits, I reviewed the background. And I realized that little did I know when I received the invitation from Lisa in March 2009 to be a part of what was then called the Dementia Diagnosis Resource Kit, that we would be 3.5 years later still working on the project. But its success is a tribute to a lot of people, not least of which is the MARIP team for their forward thinking in securing the funding for this project. We all know they have spent a lot of time on this, and I think the end product shows that. But where would MARIP be without the community committee members? I say that because they recognize and understand the value of including the voices of people with a dementia and care partners, not only asking for their input, our input, but truly listening. And for that, I think it's fair to say we all thank the MARIP team. I started work on this reflection piece last week, and coincidentally in our newspaper this past Saturday was an article about the so-called ageism plague in Canada. Age discrimination faced by seniors, the article noted, included, and I quote, treating them as if they're invisible, acting as if they have nothing to contribute, and assuming they're incompetent, end quote. I wondered if I substituted the word dementia for age, if the classifications would still be relevant. And I think they would, don't you? Some of us may have had the experience of invisibility, for example. I know I have, and contributions by some of us have been automatically discounted because we have dementia. So I see our Living with Dementia site as reinforcing the relevancy of people with a dementia, their visibility, our visibility, and yes, our competency. Allowing us all to access the information we want and need when we need it. Allowing those of us with dementia to self-manage, to retain some control over the lives we lead. And the information is relevant and available not only for us with a dementia, but the care partners, along with families and friends. I co-presented recently at the Canadian Association of Gerontology Conference, and some of what I said then I think applies now to our site. I suggested getting a diagnosis of Alzheimer's would hit you in the gut, especially for those with no family history, where the news would be right out of the blue. You might then rush home and Google Alzheimer's and be offered over 50 million options. At the same time, multiple questions would be swimming around in your mind, and I suspect close to the top of the list would be, is my life over? Enter our website, starting with its positive label, Living with Dementia, resources for living well. Wow, there might really be life after diagnosis, you think, and that feeling that your world was collapsing around you would start waning, and hopefully be lost as you scrolled through the many sections. As in my home province of BC, there are many rural Ontario cities without ready access to dementia-specific programs and services. So imagine receiving the diagnosis, a prescription, and another appointment in 6 months. Full stop. No reassurance, no extended hand to pull you up and pat you on the back. For the person receiving the diagnosis and his or her spouse or care partner, I can see this site as a godsend. You know, I was recently giving presentations in a corner of my province that is not well served and is rural. Homes and families are on large acreage and spread out. So residents have to often drive long distances for services. All that to say that many of the attendees started out from home very early, traveling an hour and a half or more for the presentation. Being the city slicker I am, I have to admit to an awakening about rural living that day. I wondered what it would be like being in that situation as a person with Alzheimer's or other dementia and as the care partner. Medical resources will probably be more limited than in the city. Because you may no longer drive, you would be restricted in getting around because there would be limited to no public transportation. Support groups and other programs and services would not be available or would be few and far between. Again, enter the Living with Dementia website with its insight and with well-defined sections so readers can click, read, move on if they have to, and then come back and refer again. It's there as a type of roadmap and guide throughout each person's journey, almost like a system navigator, as it takes the reader from a place of learning about the disease through housing options and everything in between. Including the short videos is valuable because some might read the words but not fully appreciate how it would transfer to their own life. Watching the video for guidance through the various sections of the website and hearing people speak of their personal situation brings the subject alive, makes it real. Many viewers will then better appreciate the information and be able to piece it together for their own situation. Reassurance, confidence, value, future are 4 words worth their weight in gold, aren't they? Especially when the words, "you have Alzheimer's," are heard. The person receiving the diagnosis will probably be thinking, what is going to happen to me? Will I tell anyone else? And how do I do that? And that person's care partner is left to wonder, how does life go on? Oh my goodness, everything is in his or her name. Can I change that? What kind of support is needed for both of us? The bottom line, our Living with Dementia site empowers. It will build confidence and above all illustrate with words and video that life continues after a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or other dementia. And it can continue well, no matter if you are in Toronto, Winnipeg, or Vancouver. Thank you.